You didn't land on this video by accident. It wasn't a casual click or some random scroll. Your future self, the version of you already living the reality you've been sensing in quiet moments, sent out a signal. That signal moved across space and time until it found you here. The algorithm didn't choose this moment. It only carried out the delivery. What is happening right now was arranged by something far deeper than chance. This encounter is not coincidence. It's alignment. Somewhere inside you, beyond your thinking mind, you already knew this message would arrive. You feel it in your body, and that subtle vibration that whispers, "This is for me." Your soul placed this meeting in your path long before you realized it. Call it destiny. Call it a frequency match. Call it whatever you want, but it was waiting. Up until now, you've carried an image within you, sometimes sharp and undeniable, other times blurry and fragile. The image of a life you know belongs to you, a life of wholeness, freedom, and alignment. But no matter how hard you've worked, no matter how many times you've reached, the world outside you hasn't always responded. That gap between what you feel inside and what you see outside is heavy. It's the quiet weight that shows up in restless nights, the feeling of standing just outside the doorway of your own life, watching as if everything meaningful is happening somewhere beyond your reach. It's not physical exhaustion, it's something deeper, a fatigue of the spirit, the heaviness of carrying faith when the evidence seems absent. It's like holding a bow drawn back for too long. Your arms shake, your grip weakens. You know the arrow is meant to fly, but the release never comes. That trembling is not weakness. It's the signal that you've been holding potential energy for so long it aches to be released. This is not a flaw in you. It's not a sign of failure. It's proof you are right at the threshold of something extraordinary. That strain you feel, that weight in your chest, is the echo of your future pulling on the present. Every day, whether you've noticed or not, your future self has been speaking to you, through moments of clarity, through dreams that refuse to fade, through synchronicities so perfectly timed you couldn't explain them if you tried. These are not accidents, they're breadcrumbs. So why does it still feel unclear? Why the friction, the waiting, the sense of almost but not yet? Because you're standing in the space between two rhythms. One foot still belongs to the familiar past, the patterns, fears, and stories that shaped your identity. The other foot is already in motion toward the future self that feels freer, lighter, more coherent. The clash of these two rhythms creates tension. Think of it like two radio stations overlapping. One station plays the old, static-filled music of your past. The other station carries the clarity of your becoming. Until you fully turn the dial, you hear both at once. That interference can feel unbearable, but it's not a mistake. It's the sign that you are close. This stage, the in-between, is where many lose faith. They mistake the interference for failure, but what you're experiencing is not failure. It's transition, and transition always feels messy, demanding, and uncertain. Even the butterfly thrashes inside the cocoon before breaking free. Struggle is not a sign that something has gone wrong. It's proof that transformation is happening. The tiredness you feel is not your end point. It's a signal. It's showing you that you are stretching beyond what you once thought possible. Take a moment right now. Place your hand on your heart. Close your eyes if you can. Inhale slowly, filling your chest and belly. Hold it for a moment. Exhale as though you are letting go of years of stored tension. That release you feel is not just air leaving your lungs. It is your future self whispering, "I'm here. You're closer than you realize." This moment is asking you to trust something deeper than logic, to rely not on external evidence, but on inner resonance. To believe not because of what you see, but because of what you feel moving within you. That gentle pull you've sensed, the one you can't shake, is your future self calling you forward. And here you are. You've already taken the first step. By being here, you've said yes to the signal. You've allowed the message through the noise. This is the beginning of your activation. Not through struggle, not through forcing, but through recognition. You are not chasing a dream outside yourself. You are answering a call that has always been inside you. This is the doorway. The arrow is drawn. The tension you've been holding is about to become the very force that launches you forward. In the chapters ahead, you will know not only how to release it, but how to release it with precision, in alignment with the frequency of your future self. You are not at the edge of endless waiting. You are standing at the start of your arrival. Your future is not waiting for you to build it from scratch. It is already alive, already complete, broadcasting on a frequency that never goes silent. The challenge is not creating it, it's learning how to tune into it. Most people grow up believing change requires endless effort. They are taught that transformation is a mountain to climb, a grind, a battle. And so they spend their lives hustling, chasing, striving. Yet no matter how much they push, they often end up exhausted, still searching for the thing they hoped the struggle would deliver. The truth is far simpler, though it often feels more difficult because it requires unlearning. Your life doesn't change because you forced it. It changes when your inner frequency matches the reality you want to live. When the vibration of your inner state is aligned with the vibration of your desired future, the external world has no choice but to reorganize itself. Think of it like a radio. Somewhere out there, countless stations are broadcasting music, news, conversations. They all exist at the same time, yet you only hear the one your receiver is tuned into. If your dial is stuck on static, you might think nothing else exists, but the moment you adjust the frequency, the music comes alive. Your future self is one of those stations. Its broadcast is steady, clear, and filled with the rhythm of the life you've longed for. The frustration you felt is not because the station doesn't exist. It's because your dial has been caught between channels, half tuned into fear, half tuned into possibility. You've been listening to interference, and interference feels like stagnation. So the question becomes, how do you turn the dial fully? How do you leave behind the static of the past and step into the clarity of your future? The first step is recognition. You must realize the difference between static and signal. Static is fear, doubt, judgment, the endless replay of old memories. Static is your mind telling you stories to protect you from risk. Static is the voice that says, "What if you fail? What if you're not ready? What if nothing changes?" The signal, on the other hand, feels different. It doesn't shout, it doesn't scare, it whispers, it expands. It feels like relief, like space, like a deep inhale after being underwater too long. You've felt it before, in moments of inspiration, in dreams that left you buzzing, in random sparks of clarity that made you say, "Yes, that's it." Signal and static can sound similar at first, especially if you're used to living in noise. But your body always knows the difference. The signal expands you, the static contracts you. This is where most people get stuck. They try to think their way to clarity. They try to reason, to analyze, to logic themselves into transformation. But the mind is not the receiver. The body is. Your body is the antenna. It feels resonance before your mind ever catches on. That's why intuition lives in the gut, in the heart, in sensations, not in calculations. So, let's make this practical. The next time you have a thought, an idea, or an impulse, Don't immediately analyze it. Pause. Close your eyes if you can. Ask your body, does this expand me or contract me? Do I feel lighter or heavier? Is there a sense of openness or a sense of closing? Expansion means you're brushing against the signal. Contraction means you've slipped into static. This simple practice can change everything, because the more you tune into expansion, the clearer the broadcast becomes. The more you follow contraction, the louder the static grows. Now, let's talk about the interference. It's impossible to ignore. Even when you sense the signal, the static still tries to pull you back. Old patterns resurface, doubts return, fear tightens its grip. This is normal. It's part of the process. Imagine a room full of people talking at once. The signal is your future self speaking softly in the corner. At first, it's hard to hear, but as you lean closer, as you focus, the other voices fade into the background. Eventually, the one voice becomes clear. Not because the noise disappeared, but because your attention became selective. Your attention is the dial. Where you place it determines what you hear. If you feed the static, if you argue with it, obsess over it, or try to silence it, it grows louder. If you redirect your attention to the subtle whisper, the whisper strengthens. This is the practice of alignment, not controlling the noise, but learning to prioritize the signal. Some will say this is too simple. They'll argue life is complex, transformation is complicated, and growth requires endless work. But notice who benefits from that belief. The industries that profit from your exhaustion, the voices that keep you small, the systems that need you to stay distracted. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is power. Your future self is not hiding. It's not waiting for you to prove your worth. It is steady, constant, broadcasting right now. And every moment you choose expansion over contraction, you step closer into that reality. Pause for a moment. Breathe deeply. Feel your body right now. Ask yourself quietly, what is my dial tuned to in this moment? Static or signal? Fear or possibility? Past or future? That simple awareness is the beginning of mastery. Because the more you practice, the less time you spend lost in static. The less static you feed, the weaker it becomes. And little by little, the signal becomes your dominant frequency. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the mechanics of this tuning, how your nervous system, your emotions, and your attention create the conditions for resonance. For now, simply remember, the future is not something you chase. It's a broadcast already playing. Your only task is to tune in. Your growth depends on one skill above all: learning to separate signal from static. At first glance, they can feel similar. Both arrive as thoughts, emotions, or impulses. Both can seem urgent, but only one moves you closer to your future self. The other pulls you deeper into the loops of your past. Static is tricky. It disguises itself as logic, responsibility, or caution. It tells you it's protecting you, but in truth, it's keeping you small. Static says, be realistic. Don't get your hopes up. You failed before, so why try again? Static thrives on fear, doubt, and memories of what went wrong. Its goal is not to destroy you, but to keep you in familiar territory. Familiar means safe to the mind, even if that safety feels like stagnation. Signal feels different. It doesn't argue. It doesn't pressure. It nudges. It expands. It carries with it a sense of openness, a soft clarity, even when it doesn't make full sense to the logical mind. Signal often whispers, "This feels right. This excites me. This gives me peace." When you follow the signal, you often step into uncertainty. But that uncertainty feels alive, not paralyzing. Your body is the perfect lie detector between the two. Static creates contraction. It tightens your chest, knots your stomach, or makes your breath shallow. Signal creates expansion. It softens your shoulders, opens your chest, and deepens your breathing. You don't need to overthink this distinction. Your body has always known. You just haven't been trained to listen. Try an experiment. Think of a goal you've been carrying. Notice the first thought that arises about it. Now tune into your body. Do you feel lighter, more open, more alive? Or do you feel heavy, tense, doubtful? That is your answer. Expansion equals signal. Contraction equals static. This doesn't mean static will disappear once you learn the difference. It will still show up, but your relationship to it changes. Instead of being fooled by it, you recognize it. You say, "Ah, that's just static." Recognition alone weakens its grip. When you stop fighting it, you free energy to focus on the signal. Another key distinction: static thrives in the mind. Signal lives in the body. Static floods you with arguments, justifications, endless mental chatter. Signal rarely comes as a long explanation. It comes as a sense, a pull, a knowing. The more you practice feeling rather than overthinking, the clearer the signal becomes. Of course, static has one powerful weapon: urgency. It makes you feel like you must decide now, act now, fix it now. Signal, on the other hand, feels timeless. It carries calm, even when it points to big change. If you ever feel panicked into action, that's static. If you feel calmly drawn into movement, that's signal. Here's where many people get stuck. They confuse comfort with signal. Just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's aligned. Familiarity often belongs to static. Signal may lead you into the unfamiliar. It may feel like stepping off a ledge. But underneath the fear, there's an undercurrent of trust. You feel a quiet yes, even if your mind shouts no. This is why courage is required. Not the loud, aggressive kind of courage, but the quiet kind, the willingness to trust the pull of expansion even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Signal asks you to move before you have proof, to believe before you can see, to trust before the evidence arrives. So how do you practice? Start small. Instead of trying to overhaul your life in one leap, train your awareness in everyday decisions. Ask yourself before you eat, before you speak, before you choose, does this expand me or contract me? Follow the expansion, even in tiny ways. Order the food that feels light, not heavy. Speak the words that open your chest, not the ones that tighten your throat. Walk in the direction that sparks energy, not the one that drains it. Each choice may seem small, but together they shift your entire frequency. Bit by bit, you move your dial toward coherence. And as your frequency shifts, your outer reality must follow. It cannot resist resonance. But don't misunderstand. Following the signal is not about chasing pleasure and avoiding discomfort. Sometimes the signal leads you into challenges, into growth that stretches you. The difference is that even in difficulty, expansion remains. Think of exercise. The body may ache, but the soul feels alive. That's signal. Contrast it with staying in a toxic situation. It may feel safe or familiar, but your body contracts. That's static. Another tool is journaling. Write down moments when you clearly felt expansion and moments when you felt contraction. Over time, patterns emerge. You'll see which environments, which people, and which activities bring you into signal, and which drown you in static. Use this as your map. Synchronicities often appear when you follow the signal. A book falls into your hands at the right time. A stranger says the exact words you needed to hear. Numbers repeat. Doors open. These are confirmations. They're not coincidences. They're evidence that you've tuned in. Celebrate them. Acknowledge them. Gratitude amplifies signal. Static, too, has its role. Don't treat it as an enemy. Treat it as feedback. Each time you feel contraction, it's a reminder that you're tuning to the wrong station. That awareness is valuable. Without static, you wouldn't know the difference. Static sharpens your sensitivity to signal. As you refine this practice, something powerful happens. Your trust grows. You begin to act with less hesitation. Decisions become easier. Doubt loses its hold. You realize you don't need to see the whole path. You only need to follow the next moment of expansion. Step by step, the path unfolds. This is the art of discernment. Not perfect clarity from the start, but daily practice, moment by moment, feeling into expansion. Over time, it becomes second nature. And when that happens, you are no longer at the mercy of static. You are tuned to the broadcast of your future self. In the next part, we'll explore how the body itself becomes the antenna for this broadcast, and how somatic practices, breath, movement, and presence can strengthen your ability to hold the signal. For now, remember this: your future is already calling. The question is not whether the signal exists. The question is, are you listening? Your mind is clever, but your body is wiser. Thought can be deceived by stories, fears, and patterns. The body, however, responds instantly and truthfully to frequency. It cannot lie. That's why the body is your antenna. It receives the signal of your future self long before the mind can make sense of it. Think about a time you met someone and instantly felt at ease or instantly uneasy. Before you exchanged words, your body already knew. Or recall walking into a room where the energy felt heavy versus another room that felt light. Again, your body picked up on frequency without conscious thought. This is your natural design. You are a receiver. The question is, are you clear enough to pick up the signal or clogged with static? Static often takes physical form: tension in the shoulders, shallow breathing, restless fidgeting. These aren't random. They're signs your antenna is jammed. Coherence requires clearing these distortions. You don't need to force your mind into silence. You need to bring the body into presence. Breath is the simplest tool. Notice how static shortens your breath. Signal deepens it. By slowing and lengthening your breath, you literally tune your nervous system into coherence. A calm breath tells the body it is safe. And when the body feels safe, it can receive clearly. Try this. Inhale slowly through your nose, hold briefly, exhale longer than you inhaled. Do this for 3 minutes and notice the difference. Movement is another amplifier. Static thrives in stagnation. When energy pools in the body without flow, it becomes noise. Movement, walking, stretching, dancing, shakes loose the static. You don't need elaborate routines. Even standing up and rolling your shoulders can clear space for signal. Then there is presence. Most people live dissociated from their body. They think about the past or the future, but rarely inhabit the now. Presence reclaims the body as antenna. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the weight of your hands. Bring awareness to your chest rising and falling. These simple anchors pull you out of the storm of thought and into the steady rhythm of being. And it is only in being that signal can be heard. Many spiritual traditions understood this long before modern science confirmed it. Practices like yoga, tai chi, and meditation weren't just for flexibility or relaxation. They were technologies for coherence. They tuned the body to receive higher frequencies. Today, neuroscience and quantum physics echo what sages already knew. Coherence between heart, brain, and body unlocks extraordinary clarity. Your heart is central here. Research shows the heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, much stronger than the brain. That field extends several feet beyond you, broadcasting your state to the world. When the heart is incoherent, stressed, fearful, resentful, the signal distorts. When the heart is coherent, grateful, loving, trusting, the signal amplifies. This is why gratitude and love are not just nice emotions, they are frequency tuners. They align your antenna with the highest broadcast. But coherence isn't about being happy all the time. It's about authenticity. Pretending to feel love when you don't creates static. What matters is honesty with your state and willingness to shift it. If anger arises, acknowledge it. If sadness comes, let it move through. Suppression clogs the antenna, expression clears it. Once the emotion is honored, gratitude can naturally follow. The body also speaks in intuition. Gut feelings, chills, a sense of lightness or heaviness. These are the language of signal. How many times have you ignored that nudge only to realize later it was right? That wasn't coincidence. That was your antenna picking up the frequency of alignment. The more you practice trusting these sensations, the more fluent you become in the language of the body. Of course, static will question you. What if this is just my imagination? What if I'm wrong? But notice, signal doesn't argue. It doesn't beg to be believed. It simply is. The mind creates noise, but the body holds truth. Somatic practices strengthen this trust. Breathwork, mindfulness, grounding, even something as simple as placing a hand on your heart builds the bridge between awareness and embodiment. The more you tune in, the stronger the antenna becomes. And as the antenna strengthens, synchronicities multiply. Opportunities align faster. The right people appear. Life feels orchestrated. That is not luck, it's resonance. Your future self is not far away. It exists as a frequency now. By clearing static from the body, you give yourself permission to tune into it. Imagine your body as a radio. Every time you breathe deeply, move freely, or anchor in presence, you adjust the dial closer to clarity. And when the station locks in, everything you need flows through. Let's make this practical. Right now, pause. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a slow breath in. Hold. Exhale fully. Feel the air moving in and out. Notice the sensations in your chest, your belly, your shoulders. This simple act brings you here, into signal. Nothing mystical, just alignment. This is the doorway. As you practice more often, daily life transforms. Instead of rushing through meals, you taste them. Instead of drowning in conversation, you listen. Instead of numbing with distraction, you sense. Each moment becomes an opportunity to receive. The ordinary turns extraordinary when the antenna is active. And here lies a deeper truth.
Your body is not just a receiver, it's also a transmitter. As you tune into signal, you emit it. Others feel it, consciously or not. Ever notice how one calm person can shift the energy of a whole room? That is transmission. When you embody coherence, you become the signal. Your very presence broadcasts clarity. This is why your personal alignment matters more than you realize. It's not just about your life. Your frequency influences everyone you meet. Your coherence ripples outward, inspiring coherence in others. By tuning your antenna, you help retune the collective field. In the next part, we'll explore what happens when multiple antennas, people aligned in signal, gather together. The amplification is exponential. Coherence in community doesn't just transform individuals, it reshapes reality itself. Until now, we've explored how tuning your own antenna changes your inner and outer world. But something extraordinary happens when multiple antennas align. Coherence isn't just personal, it multiplies when shared. A single candle lights a room, but many candles together create brilliance. The same principle applies to frequency. You've probably felt this before. Think about being in a concert where thousands sang together, or in a meditation circle where silence felt charged, or in a team that clicked so perfectly as if you shared one mind. These moments weren't accidents, they were coherence fields, amplifying signal beyond what any individual could hold alone. Science gives us clues. Studies show that when groups meditate, crime rates in surrounding areas decrease. Heart math research demonstrates that coherent heart rhythms in one person can positively influence another nearby. Quantum physics suggests entanglement, where particles influence each other regardless of distance, may also apply to human consciousness. The takeaway is simple: alignment multiplies when shared. This is why communities, rituals, and gatherings matter. When individuals enter coherence, they don't just elevate themselves, they elevate the field around them. And when many gather with the same intention, the field becomes undeniable. You feel it as a buzz, a hum, a sense of something greater moving through you. But collective coherence doesn't happen by accident. It requires resonance. If one person brings static, the group feels it. Think of a band where one instrument is out of tune. It throws off the harmony. That's why self-responsibility is the first step. You must tune yourself before you join the orchestra. Otherwise, you broadcast noise instead of music. When people gather in true coherence, magic unfolds. Conversations flow without effort. Ideas emerge as if from a shared mind. Healing accelerates. Synchronicities multiply. Collective coherence creates an energetic container where possibilities expand. Problems that felt impossible in isolation dissolve when held by the field of many aligned beings. This is also why gatherings throughout history have been so powerful. Ceremonies, chants, dances, prayer circles, they weren't just cultural traditions, they were technologies of amplification. Humans instinctively knew that together they could magnify frequency beyond individual capacity. And this wisdom still applies today. You don't need thousands to experience it. Even two people in coherence amplify each other. A shared breath, a shared intention, a shared silence. It doubles the field. Small groups can create extraordinary resonance. A family meal, a circle of friends, a team meeting. These moments hold potential for coherence if approached with presence and openness. But here's the subtlety. Collective coherence is not about forcing everyone to think the same. True coherence honors individuality. Just as in music, different notes create harmony, not uniformity. Each person brings their unique signal, but alignment happens in the shared frequency of intention. It's less about identical thoughts, more about synchronized hearts. To experience this, begin with intention. Before entering a group, pause and tune yourself. Breathe. Align with gratitude or love. Carry that frequency into the room. Often you'll notice others unconsciously shift in response. Coherence is contagious. Your state influences the whole. Then listen deeply. When in a group, resist the urge to dominate or retreat. Instead, feel into the collective rhythm. Where is the energy flowing? What wants to emerge? In coherence, conversations stop being about who is right and start being about what is true for the group. You move from debate to discovery. Silence is also a powerful tool. In most groups, silence feels awkward, but in coherent groups, silence becomes sacred. A shared pause allows everyone to tune deeper. It creates space for the signal to emerge in often ways words cannot. Try this. In your next gathering, propose a moment of silence before speaking. You may be surprised at how it transforms the energy. Technology can help too. Today, we're more connected than ever, yet often more fragmented. But intention can bridge digital spaces. Virtual gatherings, when held with presence, can still generate coherence. The medium doesn't matter as much as the alignment. Even across screens, you can feel resonance when hearts connect. But beware of false coherence. Sometimes groups align around fear, anger, or division. This also creates a powerful field, but it amplifies static instead of signal. History is full of examples where collective fear led to destruction. That's why discernment is critical. Always ask, does this expand or contract? Does this field uplift or diminish? True coherence uplifts. It leaves participants more alive, not drained. Here's the beauty. Once you experience collective coherence, you can't forget it. It imprints in your body. You'll crave it again because it feels like home. And each time you return to it, your personal frequency strengthens. You learn not only to receive signal, but to broadcast it more powerfully. Imagine what would happen if more groups practiced coherence intentionally. Families gathering not just to eat, but to align hearts. Schools beginning the day with breath and gratitude. Workplaces starting meetings with silence to tune the field. Communities coming together in rituals of resonance. These aren't lofty dreams, they're practical steps that reshape reality. Because reality itself is malleable. When a coherent field is strong enough, it bends probability. Outcomes shift. What seemed impossible becomes natural. You've seen glimpses of this, when a group effort miraculously succeeds, when collective prayer heals, when collaboration births genius. That is coherence rewriting reality. And this leads to a profound responsibility. Your coherence matters not just for you, but for all you touch. When you choose alignment, you add signal to the collective field. You become part of the solution, not the static. You participate in reshaping the world. In the next part, we'll go deeper into how coherence bends time and probability. We'll explore how aligning with the future self not only attracts opportunities, but accelerates them, collapsing the gap between vision and manifestation. For now, remember, you are not alone. Your frequency joins a larger song, and together, that song can change everything. Up to this point, we've explored tuning yourself, embodying coherence, and amplifying through groups. Now let's look at something even more profound. Coherence doesn't just change how you feel, it changes time itself. Most people think of time as fixed, past, present, future, one straight line. But that's only how the logical mind perceives it. In reality, time is flexible. It bends to frequency. That's why sometimes life feels stuck in slow motion, and other times everything accelerates. This isn't luck, it's alignment. Think about a time when you were in flow, Hours passed like minutes. Ideas poured out effortlessly. Opportunities aligned one after another. That was coherence collapsing time. You were so tuned into signal that probability bent to match you. The gap between intention and manifestation shrank. Now think about times you felt stuck. No matter what you did, nothing moved. Each step felt heavy. Days dragged. That was static, stretching time. Contraction slowed everything. The future couldn't reach you because you were tangled in noise. This is why aligning with your future self is so powerful. Your future isn't distant. It's a frequency that exists now. When you embody that frequency, you pull the future into the present. Manifestation is not about waiting. It's about collapsing the delay between signal and reality. How does this work? Consider probability. Every choice, every thought, every emotion broadcasts a frequency. That frequency resonates with certain outcomes. When you're incoherent, you scatter energy. Your frequency is weak, so probability remains random. When you're coherent, energy focuses. Probability tilts in your favor. What was unlikely becomes inevitable. Picture it like this. Static spreads your energy like a dim flashlight, barely lighting the path. Coherence focuses your energy like a laser, cutting through obstacles. The path doesn't just appear, you create it by aligning with it. Here's the secret. Your future self already exists in a higher probability field. The version of you that has achieved your vision is broadcasting now. When you tune into that frequency, you collapse the timeline. The how and when cease to matter because probability shifts to meet you. That's why visualization works when done correctly. It's not about imagining something someday. It's about embodying the feeling now. When you feel it in your body, your frequency shifts immediately. That shift pulls the probability of that future into the present moment. But here's the catch. Many people visualize from lack. They imagine what they want, but feel the absence of it. That broadcasts static. The signal is not, I have this, but I don't have this. And so the gap widens. True manifestation requires coherence, feeling as if it's real now. Gratitude, joy, relief, expansion. That's the signal that bends probability. Time also responds to presence. When you're fully in the now, static dissolves. The mind no longer loops in past regrets or future fears. Presence opens a direct channel to the future self. That's why practices like mindfulness are more than relaxation, they're gateways. In presence, you step out of linear time and into possibility. You've likely noticed synchronicities increase when you're present. Numbers repeat. Right people call at the right moment. Solutions arrive out of nowhere. These aren't coincidences. They're evidence of collapsed time. Your frequency aligns so strongly that reality reorganizes itself instantly. Another way to bend probability is through emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. High-frequency emotions like love, gratitude, and inspiration accelerate manifestation. They increase coherence and expand your field. Low-frequency emotions like fear and doubt slow it down. This isn't about avoiding emotion. It's about shifting state intentionally. You can acknowledge fear without living in it. You can feel sadness without broadcasting lack. The key is to return to expansion. Let's get practical. Choose something you desire. Instead of asking, how long will this take? Ask, what would it feel like if this were already real? Close your eyes. Breathe into that feeling. Let your body expand with it. Stay there until the sensation feels natural. That is collapsing time. You're no longer waiting. You're living the frequency now. Another practice. Drop deadlines. The mind loves to say, by this date I must have this. But deadlines often create pressure, which contracts. Instead, set intentions, then surrender timing. Trust the signal. Reality knows the shortest path better than your mind does. By releasing control, you allow probability to reorganize faster. But does this mean you sit back and do nothing? No. Action still matters, but it must be coherent action. Many rush into frantic activity thinking effort will force results. But incoherent action wastes energy. Coherent action, even small, moves mountains. It's not about doing more, it's about doing aligned. Here's the paradox. The less you force, the faster things come. When you trust, relax, and stay in expansion, doors open naturally. When you strain, push, and doubt, doors stay closed. Probability bends not to pressure, but to presence. This is why patience is powerful. Not passive waiting, but active trust. Patience says, it's already done. I'm aligned. I allow it to unfold. This frequency collapses time faster than desperation ever could, because desperation broadcasts lack, while trust broadcasts abundance. At its deepest, bending probability is about identity. Who are you being now? If you keep identifying as someone waiting for change, you reinforce separation. If you identify as someone who already embodies the future, you collapse separation. Identity is the strongest frequency. The moment you become the version of yourself that has it, reality has no choice but to reflect it. This is why spiritual teachers often say, pray as though it is done, or act as if. They weren't suggesting delusion, they were pointing to coherence. Being the frequency now bends probability until the external catches up. And when you live this way, time feels different. Life no longer drags. Things happen faster but with less effort. You live in rhythm with signal. You trust the unfolding. And paradoxically, by collapsing time, you also expand it. You savor each moment more fully because you're not waiting for the future. You are living it now. In the next part, we'll complete this journey by exploring integration. How to live daily life as a coherent being, embodying your future self not as a practice you visit, but as who you are. Because coherence is not something you do, it's something you become.
We've explored the nature of static and signal, the wisdom of the body, the amplification of groups, and even how coherence bends time itself. Now we arrive at the most important step, integration. Because coherence is not meant to be a temporary state you touch in meditation or moments of flow. It is meant to be the way you live, the frequency you embody daily. Integration begins with choice. Each moment you decide, will I tune into static or signal? This choice shows up in small ways: how you speak, how you breathe, how you respond to challenges. You don't need to master everything at once. You only need to return again and again to expansion. This return becomes your practice. When you catch yourself contracting, pause, breathe, feel your body. Ask, what would expand me right now? It may be a different thought, a different action, or simply a shift in awareness. Each time you choose expansion, you reinforce coherence. Over time, it becomes natural, automatic. But coherence is not just personal growth, it's contribution. Every moment you embody signal, you broadcast it into the collective field. You never know who you influence, whose day you shift, whose life you impact simply by being aligned. A smile, a calm presence, a kind word, these ripple outward more powerfully than you realize. This is how the future transforms, not through force, but through frequency. When enough people embody coherence, reality itself must reorganize. Systems shift, relationships heal, communities thrive. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The new world doesn't arrive someday, it arrives through you now. So ask yourself, who am I willing to become? Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, but here, in this moment. Because your future self is not separate. It is here, waiting for you to align. The signal is always broadcasting. The question is, will you tune in? And when you do, something beautiful happens. Life stops feeling like something to chase. You realize you are not trying to manifest your future. You are living as it now. Every breath,
Every step, every choice radiates coherence, and reality has no choice but to reflect it back. This is your power, not in controlling circumstances, but in becoming the frequency that calls them forth. Not in demanding the world change, but in embodying the change until the world must respond. You don't wait for proof, you become the proof. And so this journey ends where it began, with you. You didn't click this video by accident. Something in you resonated with this signal. Something in you already knew this truth. The future you is calling, and today you've remembered how to answer. Now the invitation is simple. Live it, breathe it, be it. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because coherence is not about what you know, it's about what you choose. And the moment you choose, you are no longer seeking the signal. You are the signal. If this message resonated, don't let it stay as inspiration. Let it become integration. Right now, take one aligned step. Pause, breathe, and embody your future self for the next minute. Feel the expansion. Let it anchor. Then carry that frequency into your next action. And if you want to deepen this journey, make sure you subscribe, because together we're building a community of coherence, people who don't just dream about transformation, but embody it. Share this video with someone who's ready to hear the signal. Add your reflections in the comments so others can resonate with your journey. The future doesn't wait, neither should you. Your time is now. You are the signal.